Could you please begin by telling the member your full name and age and where you're from?
My name is Maria Lopez, and I am from El Salvador. I am 40 years old.
Can you describe your family and your husband and your children?
I was married to Carlos Lopez since 2005. We have two children together, Gustavo 19 and Lucia 12. And I also have a baby girl, Rosa, born in Canada in 2019.
When did problems in your relationship begin with Carlos?
It began around 2014 to 2015 when he was working in Uruguay. I discovered he was unfaithful. He became verbally and physically abusive. And he would punch me, squeeze my arms, and threaten to kill me if I ever left him.
How did this behavior affect you emotionally and physically?
I felt scared, ashamed, and helpless. I just did not know how to protect myself or my children.
Ms. Lopez, please describe the first time you remember Carlos becoming abusive and what was the context? How did it make you feel?
The first time was around 2014, and when I visited him in Uruguay, he accused me of being unfaithful. He grabbed my arms very tightly, squeezed me, and punched my shoulder. I felt shocked because before that he had never, ever hit me. So I felt very scared and ashamed.
When the abuse continued, were there particular triggers or patterns that you noticed?
Yes. Whenever I questioned where he had been or whenever he was drinking, the violence increased. And he became extremely jealous and suspicious. Even the smallest things like asking what time he would return or would cause him to, explode. He threatened to kill me many times if I ever left him.
But during Christmas 2017 incident, can you describe the moment of that 17-day period?
One night, he kicked me in my ribs and slapped me across the face. He screamed that he would end my life. I ran out of the house barefoot and went to a neighbor's home crying. I just stayed there 2 nights because I was just terrified to return.
What happened when your son Gustavo tried to intervene during this 2017 period?
Gustavo tried to hold his father back and begged him to stop hitting me. Carlos got angrier and pushed him. Gustavo then called the police, but when the police arrived, Carlos' brother told them that it was a family dispute. They didn't take a report. Carlos laughed afterwards, and he said no one could ever protect me.
So you said police often didn't help. Can you describe one specific time when you called them but received no protection?
Once I called because Carlos showed me his gun during an argument. The police never came. I waited almost like an hour, and when I called again, they said they were busy and reminded me it was a family matter. I felt helpless, and after that, I feared that calling because I knew it could make things worse.
How did the police response affect your decision making?
It made me feel completely unprotected. Reporting him would only make him angrier and more violent.
After he went back to Uruguay, did he continue controlling or threatening you?
Yes. He sent messages telling me to behave and insulting me. He told me to leave the house because he wanted to bring another woman to live there. He controlled finances and continued to threaten me.
Now Kelly will take over and I'll be Maria.
Maria, you began relationship with Miguel, Carlos' cousin. What was the emotional context for you at that time?
I was alone and emotionally exhausted. Miguel had seen that what I went through and he always like tried to check on me. He was supportive and kind. And when I became pregnant in June 2018, I panicked because Carlos' jealousy was deadly and he had always said that he would kill me if I was with another man.
How did you feel when you discovered you were pregnant in 2018?
I panicked. I panicked because I knew that he would kill me if he found out that I have another man's child.
Why did you decide to leave El Salvador at that time?
Carlos was returning to El Salvador in early 2019. I knew if I did stay in my home while pregnant, I feared he would kill me and my baby. And I had a valid visa from my previous visit, and then I decided to come to Canada to have my at least give birth to my baby safely.
What were your intentions when you first came to Canada?
I just planned to give birth to my baby, and I was not intending to stay here or, claim refugee, but I just wanted to be safe.
When Carlos discovered the existence of baby Rosa in 2019, what were the exact threats and how did you interpret them?
He sent me messages that I will cut off your legs so you can't run. I will cut your head, throw it in the street. That bastard baby will not see the next day's sunlight. And these threats made me believe that, he had beaten me before and he knew my family, he knew where they lived, he had a gun. I was terrified that he would truly kill me and my baby.
Did Carlos threaten or harm anyone else in connection to you?
Yes, he did. He kicked my sister Emily out of the house when she was caring for my children. He repeatedly threatened and demanded, he was repeatedly threatening Emily and he was like demanding to know where I was. Emily later like received many calls where he said that like I would have to pay for having another man's child. And this was like the point where I felt that he was really determined to find me.
You mentioned your son Gustavo also tried to leave once. What happened?
Gustavo did try to run away to another town because of the abuse. Even though he did not tell anyone where he was going, Carlos tracked him down. He had gone to his workplace and forced him to come home. That was like the moment I felt that I could not hide anywhere in El Salvador.
Did you consider moving to another part of El Salvador?
I had nowhere safe to go in El Salvador. Like Carlos would find me anywhere. After seeing that he had tracked Gustavo's, I believed I couldn't run from him. I had to, find some safe place somewhere else.
Why do you believe the police cannot protect you today?
They're influenced by Carlos' connections, and even if they'd arrested him, he would be released and he would be angry and he would kill me. And women in El Salvador are often killed despite reporting abuse.
If you were forced to return to El Salvador now, what do you believe would happen?
Carlos would find me, like he would do anything to find me and he would kill me and my baby. And or if would like he would hire someone to kill me and he would punish me, my children. I don't like feel safe going back to El Salvador
And why are you asking Canada for refugee protection today?
because I feel if I return home, it means death for me and my children. I want to live. I want to live safely, raise my children without fear. My plan was to, give birth to my baby and gather paperwork and return to El Salvador. I never intended to stay here. Only after like Carlos received the baby's hospital documents and began sending me threats that he would kill me, I realized I cannot go back. And that's when I decided that I needed protection.
Thank you very much. That's all the questions I had for you. Thank you.
Now I will be doing the final submission. Madam Member, these are my final submission on behalf of Ms. Maya Lopez. The evidence clearly establishes that she is a credible witness who faces a serious possibility of death and cruel and unusual treatment if returned to El Salvador. She has met the test to be recognized as both convention refugee and a person in need of protection. Ms. Lopez testified in clear, detailed, and emotional, authentic manner. Her evidence today is entirely consistent with her BOC narrative. Interview notes, sworn affidavits, and supporting documents. She did not contradict herself, and her testimony reflects the lived experience of someone who has endured prolonged domestic violence. There are no material credibility concerns. Her testimony is strong, corroborated by multiple sources, affidavits from her sister Emily and priest Juan Andres, confirming years of abuse, repeated death threats, and Carlos' violent behavior towards the family. School counselor reports documenting abuse toward her son Gustavo, demonstrating a household pattern of violence. Text messages, transcript voice threats in which Carlos explicitly threatens to mutilate and kill Miss Lopez and her infant daughter, showing both intent and capability. Country documents, including Human Rights Watch and IRB NDPs, confirm systematic issues in El Salvador, pervasive gender based violence, police inaction, corruption, extremely high impunity for domestic abusers, and elevated femicide risk for women who attempt to leave abusive relationships. This directly supports the objective basis of a fear. Ms. Lopez is a member of a particular social group recognized in Canadian jurisprudence, women in El Salvador who are unable to leave abusive domestic relationships. Her persecution is rooted in gender based inequality, patriarchal norms. Her partners attempt to control, punish, and ultimately kill her. This clearly satisfies Section 96 Nexus requirements. She has also rebutted the presumption of state protection. The police refused to intervene when she reported threats involving firearms, dismissed her reports as family matter, failed to take statements, and were influenced by the perpetrator's family connections. Her experience is fully consistent with the country evidence and demonstrating that state protection for victims of domestic violence is ineffective and often dangerous. It would be unreasonable to expect her to seek protection from a state that has repeatedly failed her. There is no viable internal flight alternative. El Salvador is geographically small, and the perpetrator has shown he can locate family members even when they flee without disclosing their whereabouts. He possesses weapons, community influence, and a history of persistent violence. Without effective state protection, relocation within the country would not be safe or reasonable for Ms. Lopez or her children. If returned to El Salvador, Ms. Lopez faces a serious possibility of death, torture, or cruel treatment. Carlos has explicitly threatened to kill her and her infant. These threats are entirely consistent with the past behavior, his access to weapons, and his ability to track her anywhere in the country. Her risk clearly meets the thresholds under Section 96 and 97, subsection 1 of IRPA. In summary, Ms. Lopez is credible. Her evidence is strongly corroborated. There is a clear nexus to gender based persecution. State protection is unavailable. No internal flight alternative exists. and she faces a serious possibility of severe harm or death if returned. For all those reasons, we respectfully request the board accept Ms. Lopez as a convention refugee and a person in need of protection. That is my submission, Madam Member. Thank you.